This is possibly one of the most beautiful races of the weekend now. I mean, just looking around at all the cars is great. I mean, E-types, Ferraris, Jags, our little Lotus Elite against a Corvette. That's like little and large right there. It's cool. It's cool. I mean, there's not too many places in the world apart from Goodwood where you get this thing.
This is a homemade slot rally track, single lane, made out of MDF with a router and copper tape stuck to it. And this was made about 15 years ago. Kane and I made it together, and he had it in his bedroom for many years. And when we got the workshop, we thought we'd bring it over just to, as a bit of an interest, and it's kind of the historic bit goes with it, you know. The era came about through Kyle in America, and this grew from desire, I suppose, to have some kind of storage facility for the various vehicles and things we have over here, and then thought, well, as we got a unit, perhaps we ought to make it working unit. So then it became a workshop, a proper workshop. And then we got a couple of customers, as obviously the PC cars there and the P2 car you've got there, and so it grew from there really. But America-wise, it's been running for 4 years, I think. So, but this is really a year old now, this unit here. Carl has gone to the States and really done very, very well for himself. And he's got the gold watch from winning Daytona 1 year, so to show for it. So certainly, you know, he's pretty handy. And to see him in historic cars is quite interesting. Yeah. He's going to be good at Goodwood.
My brother lives in America. Right. He sort of was a racing driver over here, and he decided to pack up all his stuff and move to America for better opportunities. Right. Then he sort of started off his own race team, because there was a lot of American race teams what they prepare the cars really well, but they don't go into sort of like the handling side and like chassis analysis, but in Europe it's obviously a big thing, so it's very competitive, the historic racing. So yeah, he wanted to bring that to America, and it worked quite well, and he met a few customers, and it sort of spiraled from there, and now got an LMP2 team. And then we decided to sort of run our own thing in England as well, so hopefully we can run 2 successful teams both sides of the pond, which sort of gives our customers something, like, because quite like a few of them race in America, a few of them race in England, so it gives them a sort of common ground to come backwards and forwards really. So
we haven't done too badly. You know, people know about us. Yeah. Which is always nice.
There's not a bad collection of cars out there either. So
no, yeah. Well, no, absolutely. I mean, you know, Dwight's Aston is iconic. It's driven by the good and the great, Jim Clark, Sterling Moss, you name it, everybody's driven it. They've all had their hands on this one. So it's a big piece of history on its own. You know, I mean, as I say, I think Moss drove it once, Clark drove it once, Innes Ireland drove it a lot, Roy Salvadori drove it a lot. And it was a works car. It was built, it was only, I think, 2 John Ogier cars built for him by Aston as a lightweight model, and all the development was done on it really for the Zagato. It's pretty original, it weighs quite a lot, it's a lovely car, and it'd be too nice to cut about, and you know, it will never be competitive with some of the cars at Goodwood, but it is more original. I bought my first race car when I was 21, a few years ago, which was a Clubman car. I couldn't really afford it, but I bought it, and off and on racing, and I'd had several quite serious years in this Formula Ford 1600 and Formula Ford 2000, where we were doing the national series, and we were racing certainly every other weekend. And my one claim to fame, if I do have one, was actually the first year I raced Formula Ford 2000 was the same year that Ayrton Senna moved up and raced Formula Ford 2000 as well. I wouldn't say we got to know each other, but we were, hello, how are you, type, right. Whatever. And I have to say, he's the best driver I've ever seen.
Yeah.
undoubtedly. He was in a different world to the rest of us.
Love these LMP cars. That's what I grew up with, sort of watching with my dad. But I sort of slowly learned more and more about these older cars like the Aston, and sort of fall in love with them as well. So as long as it's a race car, it's got 4 wheels, and I'm going to enjoy it. So
the elite we have out there as well. I mean, you know, it's history. It's been a race car all its life. Given to Peter Arundel by Colin Chapman, and Peter Arundel was a Lotus Formula 1 driver later, and he raced it. And we've kept it as original as we can, as whatever, or, you know, it's been whatever, and it's a very nice little car, but again, huge history, and it's raced just about everywhere. Lotus Cortina history is never been driven by anybody famous as such, but it is an original Lotus Cortina that has been modified for racing. It's not been built with from a Cortina shell.
Right.
So there is a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're very pleased with it. It seems to go well. We got as good an engine as you get, a Neil Brown engine. We've taken some weight out of the car, and we're hoping it's going well. So we're looking forward to the Cortina race.
it wasn't an original race car, but it's just, yeah, been original Lotus. It's been a Lotus all its life. So it's it was built as a rally car, but never did many rallies. And then it was then converted to a race car, and it did a few races, and then it came to us, and we've been fettling it ever since. It's sort of taken a lot of weight out of it, did lots of chassis work on it, and trying to get it as competitive as possible, because the Lotus Cortinas are very competitive in historic motorsports. So we want to be up there with the front, up there with the best of them, hopefully. We got these fancy new wheels from Team Dynamics for this car now as well, which is should be good. They are the lightest mini lights you can get for a Lotus Cortina. I mean, if you feel the weight of that, that's mainly tyre.
Oh, yeah, that looks like
Yep, nearly that. Yep, there we go. Possible, wind the nut on, then I might need to take the nut off, put some more space in.
So I'm Kyle Tilley, owner of Audrain Motorsport. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be in the workshop when we were there filming last. I was still at now home in America, but we're here at Goodwood this weekend for the 80th members meeting. We've got the Cortina out today. We have the Lotus Elite and the Aston Martin DB4 out tomorrow. And yeah, just can't wait to get on with it. America is home for me these days, so I leave most of the UK shop to my dad and my brother, who do their best to look after it for me when I'm not around. And yeah, Dad's here running the show this weekend, which just allows me to basically just focus on being a driver, which is nice.
The cars, since being filmed in the workshop, have had a considerable amount of work on the setup, to make sure the toe-ins, the casters, the cambers, ride heights, etc. are set for the circuit, and even the gear ratios and differentials to a degree. Everything's been checked and double checked as much as you can, but I'm sure something will come to bite us on the race day. They've been scrutineered and eligibility tested, so we're quite comfy that they are exactly where they need to be for the race.
So we have practice in a few hours. That'll actually be the first time I've driven this car in this spec. I raced it at Portimao last year with the Masters Series, and we were fortunate enough to win. So I think we're going to be in pretty good shape. It's been on a bit of a development kick since then. So if you had to ask me, we'll be somewhere around the top 5. Yeah, I'd like to think we'll be floating around top 3, top 5.
We hope to be run competitively. We tested this car here last week very briefly, and we've done about 15 laps. We set what we think is a relatively competitive time in that period of a 1:31.4. We probably need to be in the 30s to be in the top 6. Obviously, getting a clear lap in qualifying is going to be the biggest problem. In the race, obviously the driver change is another big issue. The Goodwood pit lane is notoriously narrow, with another 28 Cortinas trying to change drivers at a similar time. It gets very, very frantic.
Looking forward to it. Should be a pretty good cure for the old jet lag, so we'll see how it goes.
.4.5. Is he? Yeah, here he is. So we're here Sunday morning at the 80th members meeting. I stood in front of our beautiful Lotus Elite, getting ready to run this in first qualifying session for it after some serious winter work. Yesterday went very well for our Lotus Cortina. We aimed for top 10 and we got P11, but I reckon a couple more laps and our pace seemed to be improving, so we could have crept into the top 10, which is really something we were hoping for, and we're just looking forward to the race really. It's sort of mixing it with the best of the best Lotus Cortinas is great fun.
I think we're in pretty good shape with the Cortina. Looking forward to that race, as I think everybody is. It's going to be a lot of fun.
No issues with the car. We gave it a good check over in the evening. It all went well. We had slight diff change just to change some little settings in it. Hopefully find some more time, make the car a bit more settled and easier to drive. And yeah, it should be good. Looking forward to the race.
Out in the Lotus Elite this morning. Honestly, I've not driven this thing really before, so yeah, we'll see. It's a super cool car. So 1959. It's the X-Works Peter Arundel car. So beautiful little things. Just had a full nut and bolt restoration. We left the exterior paint as it was because period correct. So yeah, looking forward to driving it. It will be the first time driving, so what could go wrong?
If it's wet, I definitely think these little cars have got an advantage over the bigger powered cars, because they are like the age-old adage of a small car, small tyres, but in the wet they're battling it with the big boys. But the Cortina, we've not tried it in the wet yet, so I'm curious to see how our wet pace is. The Aston's definitely, it's not the quickest Aston because it is probably the most original one, so that is sort of swings and roundabouts, but it had good pace at the revival. We finished 3rd out of 5 Astons, so I mean I'd like to be mixing it with the Astons really. It's sort of, that's the goal really, but I mean main goal, get through a damp qualifying session, just get ready for the race, so yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Cool. Yeah, very happy with how it went. It's sort of the car after a full winter rebuild completed his first session, which it didn't do prior to the winter rebuild. So yeah, it's call that a success really, and we'll look at ways of slightly improving it for the race. We qualified P16 with the Elite. I'm not sure with the Aston, I need to go find that out, but it's yeah, we'll wait for feedback from the drivers, see what they think, and yeah, hopefully go from there.
All went well. We didn't really know what to expect. It dried out towards the end. We were solidly in the top 10 to start with, which you know we were happy with, given the other cars in the class. A little bit more time to find in the dry, perhaps. That's just seat time in the car. So, no, very happy with that. The Aston Martin qualified well as well. Dwight had fun, which at the end of the day, that's the name of the game. But yeah, all good. Cars in one piece, and onto the Cortina race in roughly 2 hours. That race is going to be one to watch for sure.
Lotus Cortina race is possibly unique because it must be the best lineup of drivers and cars of Lotus Cortinas, that is, anywhere in Europe that's ever been assembled. Every car has a star driver that is capable of winning. We qualified 11th, which is such a field with the driver lineup. It's not at all shabby. We think it can go quicker. We think we can find a second, which should put us in the top 6. If we finish in the top 10, I think we'd be quite pleased with that, as it's, again, it's a little bit of work in progress. But overall, cars are all running well, team's working well. Just hope for later on a top 10 finish for the Cortina and possibly a first or second Lotus Elite across the line for the main race. And the Aston will hopefully be competitive with the other Astons.
Well, we're just here in the assembly area for the Jim Clark Trophy. It's cooled up a little early, which sort of took everyone by a bit surprised. But yeah, the car was ready since last night, so it's just a matter of fact to get the driver's kit ready and send it to here. Yeah, she's ready to go. It's looking forward to it. The cars should be good. We're starting P11, so it's be right in the thick of it in the first lap. So fingers crossed for a good race. Right, have a good one.
Trophy here at Goodwood is underway. Great start by David Dickinson from the middle of the front row. David Dickinson, number 44, the green one. He got away superbly well. A little group coming into the chicane side by side. That's always, whoa, a little bit tricky. Oh, and onto the grass, the number 777. That is the car that Jake Hill will be taking on later on. It's Ollie Streak in that car at the moment. So Jake Hill's going to have his work cut out. Nicholas Minassian in car number 18. He's just taken over from Kyle Tilley, who we heard from on the grid earlier. So Nicholas Minassian is one of the most experienced Goodwood runners, of course, and we shall see how he gets on. But for the moment, no change up front. Alex Brundle is still leading. Oh, there was a little bit of contact, unfortunately. The 77 car, that's being driven. I think that's Chris Goodwood in that one now.
Yeah, well, that is like going straight out there, and it's sort of.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have a look.
Yeah, we'll have a look when we. Whatever.
Well, good thing we're not. Well, Dwight wants to race at Brands next weekend.
Well,
Does he or does he not? Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, he does.
do you not want to race the Elite? I don't know. Just a bit more dented since the last time you saw it. So.
Yeah, you won't polish that.
No. We're just in the assembly area for the Sterling Moss Trophy, our last race for the weekend. We have the Elite and the Aston Martin in this one, which yeah, should be good fun. The sun's shining, it's a beautiful evening. It's yeah, let's get through this one and have a good time. It was wet during qualifying, and now it is sort of, it's very dry now, so obviously the bigger engine cars are going to come more into play than our little Elite, but it's I don't know, just looking for a strong finish really. So wherever is going to be good. I mean, it's been a great weekend, so it's, yeah. This is possibly one of the most beautiful races of the weekend now. I mean, just looking around at all the cars is great. I mean, E-types, Ferraris, Jags, our little Lotus Elite against a Corvette. That's like little and large right there. It's it's cool. It's cool. I mean, there's not too many places in the world apart from Goodwood where you get this thing. Let's have some fun, I guess.
The Moss Trophy at the 80th members meeting underway, and it's a good start from the poleman. Alex Buncombe, the Chevy doesn't move at all, does finally get going, but actually from the outside, James Cottingham in the AC Cobra, going around the outside, and I think he's taken Alex Buncombe. Yes, he has. Look at this, 3 abreast with the Austin Healey in the middle. That's a rally. It is a rally car originally, that Austin Healey, a winner in Key Rally, the Alpine Rally. I see that it's still got the labels on it and the rally lights on it, which is fun to see.
And what you saw in that little battle, the green and yellow Lotus Elite just had no answer to the power of the Austin Healey, and all around him, and fell back in.
First few laps now have sort of settled down. It's yeah, found our pace as expected. All the big cars now, it's drive just sort of blasted by a little engine, but it's yeah, the pace is really good. So yeah, it's all going well. We're catching the blue Elite as well. Just got one more lap when he crosses the line. It's yeah, it's going all right.
Coming up to the Lotus and the Chevy, it is slowing him down, and it's could give a chance to Buncombe, but he's got a decent exit out of the chicane. The Lotus getting out of his way, and fair enough, the checkered flag is out, and he takes victory. It is a win for James Cottingham.
The elite finished, the Aston didn't. But yeah, Pete, I think we finished 17th or 18th. It's yeah, I think it might have been 18 at the end, but it went really well. The elite did well. I think the Aston had some sort of mechanical, which I need to have a look at. Really, that's. But we'll report back once we see what happened to it. So yeah, it's all plus points. So yeah, that comes to the end of our Goodwood weekend. It's pretty successful. It's also your birthday tomorrow, which is a big one, so this is a little something for our appreciation.
Oh wow!
Since the last time you drove it, is you driving it.
Wow! Thank you.
That's right, it was built by Pete Shepherd. It's, yeah.
Wow.
Pete Shepherd Racing Models.
I don't quite know what to say for that. Not offline asteroids.
Fully working slot car, so yeah.
No, but no, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much.